Thank you, Chairman Tonko. The committee, as I mentioned in my opening, the committee drafted comprehensive climate change legislation last Congress, the Clean Future Act, and I've been pleased to see significant similarities between the Clean Future Act and the early climate actions that have come out of the White House. Both approaches emphasize environmental justice. Both seek to use climate actions as a means to create jobs, good jobs, and both recognize that different industries and sectors will require different solutions. So I wanted to start with Ms. Goldfuss. Are there some industries or sectors that will be able to decarbonize more quickly, and which ones and how quickly, recognizing that this is not a one-size-fits-all situation? Ms. Goldfuss.
Absolutely. Thank you for the question, Chairman Pallone. The power sector is really going to be the key during the Biden administration. How quickly can we deploy as much renewable energy as possible? President Biden referenced a clean electricity standard, as you all did as well in your legislation, as a really promising policy approach that sets goals for the amount of renewable energy deployment, sets a standard. We've seen more than 17 states deploy similar styles of this policy and have been really successful. It's focused on the outcome that we want to see, not punitive measures. So we're pretty optimistic that a clean electricity standard could be a key component of this proposal. Also, investments. The ITC and PTC in wind and solar have been some of the most promising climate policy that we've seen over the past decade. They've had an incredible impact on the cost of renewables. We need to expand, make those tax credits more reliable longer term so that wind and solar and other clean forms of energy really can expand at the rate that we need. So I think it's the power sector, the power sector, the power sector. We also have to be supportive of transportation, but the shift and change will be slower than what we can see over the power sector, in the power sector over the next decade.
Well, I want to get to Ms. Fenley, but let me just ask you quickly, if you could, what's Congress's role in moving the electricity sector to decarbonize by 2035? Quickly, because I want to get to Ms. Fenley.
It's those investments, and then really, if we're going to reach those targets, it's paramount that Congress take action to give EPA the full authority and to explore a full policy like a clean electricity standard.
All right. So the president had early actions included significant efforts to use federal government's purchasing power to support decarbonization in some sectors. Ms. Fenley, how can President Biden's early actions on procurement help decarbonize these challenging sectors, and how can Congress go further? Quickly, because I have one more question of you.
Sure. Quickly, his early actions show the leadership of creating markets and buying from manufacturers, and we think that this can be paired with action from Congress on a buy clean policy, which we've talked to many companies and industry associations about in manufacturing to really show and buy from American manufacturers who are cleaner than their foreign counterparts.
All right. So just as a follow-up, we know that COVID-19 has done done a lot of damage, and there's maybe an opportunity now to bolster our economy by investing in infrastructure, which will hopefully require a lot of American-made steel and cement. I want to see a major infrastructure bill. So how can a preference for low emissions materials through a Buy Clean program, for example, you mentioned, help decarbonize these sectors? And can we design such a program to ensure that imported products are held to the same emission standards as domestically manufactured products? Obviously, I prefer made in America, but I don't want these other things to be awful either if they are imported.
Right. Well, we've proposed starting with transparency on the embodied carbon or the emissions associated with production of materials used in major infrastructure products and materials, and using the data collected from that to direct investment into decarbonizing sectors, manufacturing sectors that really need help decarbonizing. And then eventually, only having the federal government purchase materials that meet very reasonable standards for embodied carbon.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I really think we have to use every tool we can, uh, you know, to address climate action. But obviously, anything that's done should be oriented towards American products. So thank you again, Mr. Chairman.